Welcome to the Fans Edge Sports Show, hosted by 216 Mike and EG Laflare, also produced by Walt K Disney. This is a college football show, but we do talk about a lot of different sports, and this is geared for the fans. What we like to do is allow the fans to create the discussion. So make sure that you join us so that you can help create the discussion.
Also, while you're doing that, we are make sure you add us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. We are very active on all those social channels, as well as your favorite podcast platform. We stream live every Sunday night, and the show will be available on all podcast platforms every Monday morning. So we got a lot to get into this week, so let's get right into it. Right before we started the show, we were talking about the Michigan State Michigan game. I'm not sure if y'all seen it, but the Michigan AD police is investigating a scuffle after the Michigan State game. Jim Harbaugh's he basically calls it an assault, and after watching that video, I definitely think it's the same. All you see are white jerseys, and you don't even see the Michigan player until the end, and somebody comes in and breaks it up. It shows at first they claim it's just two Michigan State players, but after watching that video, it's way more than that. Kicking and punching Michigan defensive back Jaden McBurrows. Mike, what's your thought on that? I know we've been talking about that tunnel, and I just don't understand why everybody shares that tunnel. That just sounds like a disaster coming in for that.
Well, the Team Up North fans are going to tell you, hey, it's been like this for 100 years and we haven't had any issues. Well, that's a lie. We want to first start off by saying that's a lie. You've had several scuffles. Yes, it has not gotten to this point. But the reason why it has not gotten to this point is because refs, police officers, and staff have made sure to push the teams back and make sure that they stay separated. Well, that's not what happened here. What we see is staff and people who just sitting there watching and obviously recording and not trying to break it up. But here's the thing, right? So as Michigan State is going into the tunnel, what does that team up north do? They go up to them and start antagonizing them before they even get to the tunnel, right? So there's guys trying to be in between and keep them separate. Well, two Team Up North players decided that they were going to sneak around and go past and go right into the tunnel the same time as Michigan State. Now, I don't know about you all, but I know this. If you go instigate and talk ish around a gang of what we like to say ops, right? You gonna find out, right? And there's a video out there that's called Fuck Around and Find Out. And that's exactly what they did. They fucked around and they found out. You don't do that. I guarantee you, and everybody's mad at me on Twitter because I said this is a life lesson. Lesson learned. I promise you he won't sneak around and go into that tunnel early. I bet you he'll stay back with his team.
Right.
So, I mean, and I will say this. I condemn the player swinging his helmet, hitting that guy and stuff like that. I will not defend that at all. And I mean, should it have gotten to this point? No. But James Franklin came out and said, hey, something needs to be done about this, right? This was just a couple weeks ago when Penn State played there, right, in Ann Arbor. And Jim Harbaugh said, I don't have time to deal with his pettiness and all of this stuff. I have real stuff to worry about. Now it's real. So you've been warned, and here's the thing, here's the kicker. Other teams have warned about this situation possibly happen for years, and you taking no action. Now we want to blame Michigan State during an emotional time when testosterone is high? Come on, man.
My thing is this. I agree with you, man. The player was in the wrong. Like, why are you going there? Like, you're in unwanted territory. Like, you shouldn't be there. But at the same time, I saw a tweet on Twitter that I agree with. You guys had 60 minutes to hit somebody with no consequences. You had 60 minutes between those lines to knock someone out with no consequence. But you chose to jump on this player in the tunnel. I just can't get with that, man. I feel like you have to like send something at Michigan State's way, man. Those guys were on it, man. I saw him, man. He looked like he didn't want no smoke once he got up. He was
Of
trying to
course
get
he
out
did.
of there. He was outnumbered. It was his fault for going there, but at the same time, Michigan State, that was a classless act by them. Like, I mean, you had the chance on the football field. Put your hands on a player then, do something then, knock a guy out then. That's what we expect. That's the only time you can hit someone with no consequence. Do it then. I just didn't like that, man.
Well, you can't really do it then because then it'll be targeting, right?
Somewhat, but I mean, you could
if
you
it's
could
if
you could
it's if it
you
if
could
it's
go head
shown
to
with
head with a
malicious
man.
if it's shown with malicious intent, it's targeting.
But there's ways on the football field where you can let a player feel you still with all the rules going on. There's ways you can make a player feel you on the football field.
EG said there's ways. There's definitely ways. And yeah,
Yeah.
Mike, you're right. I mean, they should have made this change a long time ago. And EG, I mean, you're right too. You
I
got
mean,
60
yeah.
minutes to get in there. So, hey,
I mean,
you
I
got
don't believe in jumping nobody or anything like that. Like, I honestly, I don't, like condone this, like all of this. I don't. But my thing is like, you don't go instigate for one, and you fix the issue like that. The thing is just the thing that's pissing me off is the team up north, all they are freaking doing is literally all they're doing is pushing blame on someone else, and they're not taking no responsibility and say, hey, we could have done something better. We could have had more staff in the tunnel. You know it's a rivalry game. You know it's heated. Always. But here's what the UM fans say. Oh, it's our tradition to have scuffles in there. Well, the tradition that you promoted just got two of your players effed up. One of them got a broken nose and a black eye.
right.
Don't
Exactly.
promote that.
Exactly. Drizzy Dez says they deserved it. Hey, walking into that tunnel. I mean, you know. And then Smoke said, hey, he off, he in. So tap in. Make sure you continue to leave us comments and join the discussion for sure.
For
Uh-oh.
sure, yeah. We're gonna be talking about your team. Hey, Smokey is a Tennessee Vols fan like you did.
Yep.
So yeah,
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
We got a lot of Tennessee content coming in for today.
yep,
Drizzy's Dead says he remembers when Michigan and Ohio State's players got going back and forth in the tunnel. Yep,
yep.
that is true. The tunnel was definitely a dangerous place.
It's been going on for years, like maybe decades.
And speaking of some update, we got a new AP poll come out. Tennessee moves into a tie with the Ohio State at number 2, which I don't. I mean, hey, I don't understand this whole tie deal, but we'll get into the discussion. USC moved up to the 9th spot, and number 10 UCLA gave the Pac-12 3 teams in the top 10 for the first time since November of 2016. So good for them. And for Kentucky and South Carolina, they both drop out of the poll. And Cincinnati drops out of the poll as well after losing to UCF. So, Mike, hey, Tennessee and the Ohio State, number 2 for the AP. It's crazy to me.
And this is crazy, but this is why the AP poll is trash. Go ahead and rank. Like, ESPN normally updates their stuff very quickly, right? It took them a while to update this AP poll. Why? Because they had to figure out how to get 2 2s in there and not a 3, right? I mean, literally. The thing is if you want to put Tennessee at 2, just put them at 2. They have more first place votes if that's what you want to go by, right? And then just put Ohio State at 3. Stop with the BS, man. Thank God for the college football playoff coming out where there can't be any ties.
Well, my thing is this, man. If you look at it, it's a wake up call, man. I think people are worried about Ohio State. I think people are worried at what they can do. Okay, let me tell you this. when you're looking at statistics, you can see that okay, CJ Stroud had what about 365 yards against Penn State, but realistically, he actually struggled in that game because yeah, you can make his completions look good by giving them screens, giving them dump offs to the guy. Guys are wide open. He's making those passes all game long. But we need to see more down the field throws. We need to see more of those NFL throws. I just don't see it a lot. I see it a few times a game. And if you look at CJ Stroud's resume, they're all over his resume. But when you watch him throughout the game, it's not a lot of them. He's doing a lot of screens, dump offs. He's keeping that percentage
What
up
does
high,
this
that
have to do
completion
with the AP
percentage.
poll?
Listen, let me get finished with what I'm saying. And you look at Tennessee. I think those guys are for real. They are a real threat to the national title this year. Their offense is easily the best offense in the nation. They're not playing for numbers. They getting chunk yardage. They get deep balls. They got different receivers. They got a receiver that's breaking the record, and he wasn't even their number one receiver to start the year. So what my thing is, Tennessee's offense is for real. I think people are taking Tennessee more serious these days. It's not a knock to Ohio State. It's just saying that, hey, Tennessee might just be up there with those guys. I think so as well. Tennessee looked great. I didn't expect them to come out and do Kentucky like that. That's like 5 wins against ranked opponents for Tennessee this year versus whatever Ohio State did. 1 win versus a ranked opponent. That's what the AP poll is looking at. I mean, no one just outright believes in the AP poll, but I mean, you got to put the numbers in there somewhere.
Hey, EG said there's a clear number 2 team, and I mean, hey, you ain't wrong about that. Tennessee freight train coming. Don't worry about that. But we'll definitely get
Hey,
into to the recaps of Tennessee and the Ohio State games later in the show. Speaking of college football playoffs, the first playoff comes out November 1st. This is where the selection committee will release 6 sets of the top 25 rankings throughout the season. And the first will be Tuesday, November 1st. And these rankings will be released weekly through November and early December. The final top 25, which will reveal the 4 teams that will play in the college football playoff semifinals. So we're really getting into the grid of it coming into week 10. So, Mike, what's your thoughts on this? I know you would like this a lot better than the AP poll.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to the college football playoff committee's rankings. The thing about the college football playoff is we do not know we don't know what their true criteria and what they're actually going off of until they actually put out their first ranking. Actually, I like to say their second ranking or whatever, right? And the reason being is because we have seen them value different things when you have a new committee chair and things like that. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what that is because, I mean, hey, the college football playoff committee is final. There are no ties. People actually have nuts to say, hey, we feel this is the number 2 team and this is the number 3 team, right?
and hey, when the college football poll comes out, man, that's when people get butt hurt because I can remember a lot of times where it were undefeated teams that were missing out on playoff chances or the missing out on the top 4 because they were on the outside looking in. And that was the year I think it was like Washington. They were like a good team, and they were just on the outside looking in at who's
Washington
going to
didn't
be.
miss it when they were undefeated. They
Yeah,
actually made the
no, they
playoff.
were battling with somebody who was also undefeated. I can't remember who that fifth team was, but it was 5 teams and 2 of them was undefeated. Then they had to weigh in strength of schedule and things like that. And this is the most accurate as it gets because teams will miss out, man. A lot of teams get high up in the rankings, but their strength of schedule comes out, and I think that strength of schedule will knock a team like Ohio State down to the third mark or the fourth mark, and that's what I like to see. But you still get a chance to prove yourself. Go out there and win your matchup. That's all that matters. But I mean, I'm excited about the college football poll, man.
Drizzy Diz says if Tennessee beats Georgia, they will be the number one in the playoffs. So
Yeah, they will be.
he
I don't
also
know how that game is gonna go.
he also is leaning towards Georgia on this game. So we'll definitely see. Drizzy Diz. We'll definitely see. We'll get a little bit more of that.
It's in Athens. That's Georgia's advantage, man. They will make sure you lose in Athens.
Oh yeah, they definitely will. And he got some words for you, EG. He said
He said,
keep Ohio State
"Hey,
out.
we know when it comes to strength of schedule, Ohio State is no one's favorite."
We all know.
I do want to clarify because no undefeated team that's in the Power Five have ever missed the college football playoff. Just wanted to clarify.
Okay.
Yeah, but my thing is this: the rankings come out before the final few games of the season, so the season wasn't over at the time when the rankings first came out. So at the time, everyone was undefeated, but someone might have lost the game in the championship game and missed the playoffs.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you lose your championship game, I mean, what they say is part of their criteria is being a conference champion. So the
It doesn't
conference,
apply to the SEC though, so
I
that
mean,
didn't apply to the SEC.
okay,
So
but when you're the number one or number two team, right, and then you play a close game, you didn't get blown out. That's why they have been able to get in there, and it's because those two top teams have been in a different division. It's never happened where they've been in the same division. That's one of the blessings that the SEC has got.
Speaking of blowouts, let's get into some Week 9 recap where Kansas State, man, who knew this game would end up like this? Kansas State blows out Oklahoma State 48-0. They said they back with a vengeance. Kansas State established themselves as the number 2 team in the Big 12 with the win over Oklahoma State. They were up, the Wildcats were up 14-0 at the end of the first quarter, and by the half, they were 35-0. So the game quickly got out of hand for the Cowboys. Just wasn't enough for Spencer Sanders to keep up. The Cowboys turned over the ball twice and had just 169 yards of offense on 43 plays. EG, what's your thought on this game?
is Kansas State's defense for real? Is that team really that tough? I guess those guys. I mean, this is a team with two losses, man. They came out ready for the smoke. They used a backup quarterback, and he threw 4 touchdowns. The running back ran all over Oklahoma State. I mean, a total surprise, man. I picked Oklahoma State to win that game. Kansas State just came out and just surprised me, and I'm sure half of the nation with this 48-0 win, man. That's it's just a shocking win, man.
Yeah, I was definitely shocked to see what Kansas State was able to do. And then I was also shocked to see what Oklahoma State just couldn't do. And I mean, I know that Oklahoma State lost their defensive coordinator, but their defense has kept them in games, helped them win games, and it was just non-existent. But this is what, like we were talking about last weekend for the past few weeks, man. It's like, how can you – well, we're not going to say Oklahoma State's good because of the way they got smacked, but there are some really good teams in the Big 12, and they're going to cannibalize each other, man, and that's exactly what's happening. Will Howard, he stepped in the game last week, helped finish that game off strong, and then he just took this over with 4 touchdowns. He had a QBR of 92.1, so he had a game overall, like, and Deuce Vaughn, that dude is a different guy, man. Shout out to Deuce Vaughn. He had 22 carries on 158 yards with a touchdown, averaging 7.2, and was just able to keep the chains rolling for them guys.
But I want to say this, man. I can't quite say Oklahoma's not good though. I mean, they went 12-2 last season. They've only had 2 losses this season. They represented the Big 12 by being undefeated at home. I think they won the Big 12 last season. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking so. I can't just say Oklahoma State is sorry. That's why this win is so shocking to me.
Yeah, but when you score no points, not a field
That's
goal,
crazy.
no nothing, like Miami didn't even get a touchdown, but I mean, at least they put up 14.
Yeah.
And we know they not good. Like
Maybe an off week for Oklahoma State, man.
That's more than an off week. They're just goose egg, bruh. That's a goose egg.
Crazy. Hey, shut them out. Like you said, Miami didn't even score a touchdown this
Their
week.
playoff hopes is done. So I guess I don't know. Sometimes when I say a team's not good, I think about a different one. So never mind.
And let's see, Tennessee. Hey, keeps Rocky Top rocking. They stay undefeated, 44-6 against Kentucky. I know a lot of people were concerned about this game, but this was definitely good momentum going into next week against Georgia, which we'll get a little bit into that later in the show. And I know we usually talk about the Vols offense, but can we talk about the defense a little bit? They really stepped up this week, so I am very happy with what I saw, especially going into battling the Bulldogs next week.
Talk your shit, dude.
Hey, you know. Tennessee limited Kentucky to just 205 total yards and forced the Wildcats into 9 consecutive possessions without points. So I hope we keep that momentum going into next week for sure. And I don't even want to talk about Kentucky's quarterback. I mean, he was just on the sideline picking his nose the whole time. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know where he was.
I told you.
Hey,
man. Levis looks horrible, man.
I told you. And here's the kicker. Tennessee.
Go ahead.
Tennessee had what, the 100-something pass defense in the nation coming in this game
at last.
Yeah, like I know that they did have some guys come back healthy, and that seemed to definitely help them. But like I said, there was no reason for Kentucky to be in the top 25. Period. Man. I told you guys this Will Levis hype train is overrated. I don't know why it's being talked about or why. Like they live all on the run game and they weren't even really able to get that going. Like they had one good drive, in the first half or the first quarter, and then that was it. That was it. I mean, like I said, you got to go with the trends. Kentucky been spanking them since World War II? Right? When's the last time Kentucky has beat Tennessee?
They played them close last season.
Might have played them close. And damn, they wasn't even really that good last year.
Weren't at all.
Like I said, and I know a lot of people was talking about, this game could be a possible trap game and all of this stuff. But here's the thing about Tennessee, right? Tennessee does not Tennessee, they done had their down years already, right? You don't want to go back to that. That's what's in every single one of them players that's on Tennessee in their mind. They're feeding off of that. They've been the underdog. They still preaching the underdog. Oh, they don't want to put us one after we knocked off Bama? There's still an underdog story to be told with Tennessee, man. And now everybody's counting them out coming in this week. I know we will get into that later, but Tennessee didn't shock me. Shout out to Tennessee for taking care of business.
Okay. My thing is, I agree with you, Mike. We have to start taking Tennessee a little more serious. It's that time, man. This is a solid win, man. This is an NFL scouted quarterback. This is a quarterback who's top 5 on Mel Kiper's big board. And he went out there and just looked terrible. In Tennessee, we're always talking about their offense. This guy made their defense look great. I mean, I think he threw 3 interceptions. I saw one DB for Tennessee, man, make a hell of a play. He jumped up there and just straight snatched it from the guy, man. Hey, man, so it's like, I don't know, man, what Levis is doing. I need to take back my I don't know if it's the talent surrounding him that makes him look that bad, but man, he didn't look good, man. It's time to start taking Tennessee a little more serious, man. Those guys are rocking and rolling. I think it was those black uniforms. They kind of had some good luck this weekend because Levis looked terrible.
Yes, I'm gonna definitely have to go ahead and get one of them black ones. Drizzy Dez says,
how can you say that they have 5 solid victories on the year? Tennessee does. I I can't continue to doubt these guys, man. I think they are a real threat. If these guys played Ohio State next week, I would pick Tennessee.
You
Oh,
gonna pick anybody?
I would pick Tennessee.
We hold on. We already know who you picking in November, right?
I'm picking Michigan.
Exactly. You gonna always pick against us.
he said it
I
don't
love
matter.
you guys, man.
He said it don't matter. Hey, Smoke said UGA better watch out. The Vols
Hey.
by 50. I mean, but Smoke is not lying though. Like the thing is you know the Vols are gonna put up in
Some
between 40 to
points.
50 points, right?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Can UGA do the same? I'm not sure if they can do that. Like they I
My
gotta
only thing is, will Tennessee defense look good that day? Because yeah, they'll have Brock Bowers showing up. They'll have Katie McIntosh and Milton coming out the backfield. They'll have a run game going. I'm pretty sure they're going to try to slow the clock down versus Tennessee. So they're going to try to milk that clock, run that ball. Is Tennessee defense going to show up to stop that run, to stop that slow pace pro style offense? That's the only question mark, because if that's the case, Tennessee can't score much if they keep the ball. Walk in your trap and take over your trap. Hey, I'm trying to be inside that game, man. I'm trying to be inside the
EG, you
stadium for
gotta
that
be
one.
there. You gotta
I'm
be there
trying
for
to
that
be
one.
there, man.
You gotta be there. Hey, Andrew said we gotta stop the run. You're definitely right about that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely right. Oh, Drizzy Dead says Tennessee beating Ohio. Wait, he said Tennessee is
Tennessee.
not beating Ohio State. Okay. Okay,
He said
hey, we'll
EG
see.
has lost his mind. Hey, man. I'm just
Hey,
saying.
Hey, we about to get in that Tennessee Georgia
yeah.
talk in a minute.
I was about to say they said we could beat Bama, but here we are. And for the last recap, we got the Ohio State escaping Penn State in Happy Valley. They unleashed an avalanche of fourth quarter points on number 13 Penn State to come away with that 44-31 win in their Big Ten East showdown. Penn
Go
State
ahead.
began the game with back-to-back turnovers. So, but it looks like they erased it and they went into the locker room with the lead. EG, I know you were definitely watching this game close. What were your thoughts on this? How did the Ohio State do?
Here
What's
go
your
Mike
grade?
shaking his head.
What's your
So
grade on this, EG?
I had two games going at the time. The game was a lot closer than 44 to 31. My thing is this, man. When it comes to that offense, Ryan Day know he's a numbers guy, and I can tell that he's a numbers guy. The guy throws a lot of screens, a lot of dump offs. He keeps that percentage of CJ Stroud very high. But as I'm watching the game, I'm looking for CJ Stroud, his downfield plays, his second reads when he's going through his progression. I Sometimes it's a question mark. He took a few sacks instead of incompletions, and shout out to that defense of Ohio State because it showed up. But even though Stroud had the numbers, I still don't think it was a great game from him. Only one touchdown pass. But hey, Ohio State walked out victorious, man. That was a great defense they played against. That outside linebacker for Ohio State showed his ass. He had a great game. The guy or the edge rusher, I don't know his name, but he had a great game. He showed up, man. But I don't know. I feel like Ohio State needs to run the ball just a little more, man, to just be more dominant in those games. I think they need to hand it to Trevion Henderson a little more, Williams a little more, just to be more dominant. Because those are two great running backs. I seen Henderson get up in the open a few times and just, hey, he can burn the whole defense. He could really make that play. So I just want to see them run the ball a little more instead of just being that all passing type of thing. 33 passes is a little bit much.
Mike, what you think about Ryan Day's play calling?
Oh man, that was definitely something to have an issue of. EG has been talking about, CJ Stroud padding his stats from screens or whatever, but that has not been a part of Ohio State's offense or a staple of their offense until this week. I want to say all Ohio State fans were shocked. You did 10 screen pass. that went for maybe 10 yards or no yards. Like it was ridiculous. Yes, we wanted to see more vertical pass. So my issue, and I think that the only thing that was holding Ohio State back was Ryan Day. Did Ryan Day over prepare for this game and was thinking too much? Another thing EG is right about is that running game needs to get better. I think the issue isn't. I think the issue is them starting Travion. I don't think that Travion this year is Ohio State's number one running back. I have been saying this for a very long time, even preseason. I said I think Mayan needs to be the number one running back and let Travion be that change of pace back. And the reason being is when you starting off that game and you want to and you're starting off with the running game, you want to be able to punch a team in the mouth. And that's what Mayan gives you, right? What I'm seeing is Travion going down on arm tackles. What I see from Mayan with an arm tackle is broken. It's a broken play. Like he's gone. Or, if he's even gang tackle, he's still going to get you 3 to 4 yards. And that's not what Travion is doing right now, man. So yes, Ryan Day with the play calling definitely needs to get better. CJ did not struggle in this game. When your coach calls a play and you do that, that's what you do. But here's the kicker, and I'll say this. Marvin Harrison out of his own mouth came out and said that in the fourth quarter when he had that nice pass by C.J. Stroud, that was not the play call. C.J. Stroud went ahead and changed that play.
Nice.
So to sit here and we don't think that C.J. Stroud, like this guy, his progression has never been questioned, him going through his progressions, because he does it. Actually, it's been already evaluated how fast and how quick he's able to go through his progressions. I think that Ryan Day was holding C.J. Stroud back. But shout out to Penn State. If anybody knows this game is always close, always comes down to the wire. Ohio State has only blown Penn State out twice. One year was in 2013 after Penn State got sanctions, and then in 2015 when was James Franklin's first year, so there was a lot of coaching turnover, but they still had those scholarship sanctions, so they didn't have a full roster. But other than that, man, I mean, C.J. Stroud, he did great. Like you said, the defense, they showed up. Our offense got to capitalize more. We missed on a field goal as well, which I thought we should have had went for it. But that's the coaching staff, man. I do think that Mayan was starting to run and starting to get that running game going, and then he get hurt, as Ohio State always does.
Only 2 carries for that guy. That's horrible from Ryan Day.
But it's not his fault, man. I mean, literally like his second carry, like he goes down. And what Ohio State is doing is they like, hey, man, we have enough weapons. We can supplement. And what you saw is they baited Penn State. Oh, now they're looking for the screen. They're looking for the screen. Boom, it opens up the passing downfield game. And honestly, Marvin Harrison Jr. is a freak. That dude is not human. That dude is straight up elite. I do think that Ohio State, other wide receivers need to step their game up and help. But and this was a great win by Ohio State. This was a top 10 defense, top 15 matchup. I mean, they only dropped them down by 3 to number 16. So, I mean, it's still a top 25 win. Everybody thought that Ohio State would fold. And here's the good thing that I liked about Ohio State being down. It showed that they didn't panic and that they have the resilience. And then here's something that you didn't see from Ohio State last year. The defense giving them sparks and changing the momentum.
Andrew said 44, dog.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about him later.
Hey, they got show. Hey, that was a crazy stat he ended with, bro. Like,
yep.
He had a touchdown, like sack, fumble, interception, everything you could want. He had at that game.
Drizzy Dad says if you see that bubble screen again, hey man,
I swear. And then another thing that I do on the bubble screens, if you go and watch, like the wide receivers, like Julian Fleming was not blocking well at all. Kay Stover he's good blocking on the line, but I don't know about him blocking in perimeter because he just let a guy shoot right past him and was just seemed too quick for him. So
But
they definitely need to shore up that perimeter blocking game.
but one thing I can say though is Ryan Day believes in his athletes the way he's just giving them the ball right now to make a play. At least he believes in the athletes to make a
Bro.
play.
Yeah.
When they needed to make a play, it took them 3 plays. That's all they
Marvin
needed was
Harrison
3.
was making some plays when he caught the ball short.
Hey, and they said, speaking of Marvin Harris, they said he the next New York Giants receiver.
We don't want to see him on the Giants, man. We don't want to see that.
All
So
right.
Saquon needs some help.
Hey, man, they struggling. And coming in with the pick totals this week, I think we all tied this week. 2-1.
Yeah,
Yep.
2-1.
Yep. So we'll see.
Look at us, all above 500.
Look at us.
Hey,
And all 3 of our teams came out with a dub. Look at
hey,
that.
I love the W weeks.
Yes, definitely a winning week. Let's go into week 10. Hopefully, this will be the same with some week 10 preview. First up, we got Tennessee taking on Georgia. This game will determine who will play for the SEC champs in the East Division. The game is played in Athens, as we mentioned before, so that environment will be a huge thing. But the good thing about Tennessee fans, they like to travel. So, we're going to be there rocking that orange, of course. And Tennessee is coming in with the game, dominating Kentucky, and Tillman is back. So as long as he's back and stays healthy, get those reps in between him and Hyatt, I'm hoping this is going to be. I'm guessing this is going to be a high scoring game. So I'm gonna have to go for Tennessee on this one. EG, who are you going for?
Ooh, man, it is tough to call. Like my gut wants me to pick Tennessee, but I'm gonna bet my money on Georgia at home. If they can control that clock, if they can get those 2 dynamic running backs they got, if they can run the ball on Tennessee's not so good defense, which is ranked like near the very bottom, I'm gonna give the edge to Georgia if they can keep the ball out of Tennessee's hand. So I'm gonna go with Georgia on this one, man. It's very tough though, man. Very tough.
Mike, what's your thoughts on this? Have we really seen? I mean, Georgia, they've been letting a few opponents. Sorry, my bad. Score against them. Hey, we're going to talk about that Florida Gators game. Hey, but I'm just saying, Mike, what's your thoughts on this? Who you going with?
I mean, yeah. Georgia didn't come out. I mean, they figured the game was already done when they came out at half against Florida. That was their mistake. They got very stale in the third quarter, but they were still able to show their dominance. My issue was allowing Anthony Richardson to look like something when he's just really a running back. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick Tennessee in this game, man. The reason being is what Tennessee, if you actually watch the film and you look at how far out their wide receivers are spread out. What they do is they make you cover every inch of the field, right? And it's already easy and able to be determined whether you're in man or you're in zone. So everything's already predetermined. And what Hendon Hooker doesn't have to do is he doesn't have to throw his wide receivers open. They already getting open. So that's one thing that definitely helps them out. I do know, like Ringo, he's a really good defensive back, but he looks stiff at times. And you cannot play stiff against Hyatt. You can't play stiff against Tillman. I would imagine you probably will want to match up with Tillman just because of the body size and body comp of that. But I mean, honestly, I think that you got to give me Tennessee, man. Georgia. I say the only way that Georgia would possibly be able to win this game is being able to run the ball, keep the ball out of Tennessee's hand. We have seen Georgia struggle sometimes in the running game, and that's supposed to be more of Tennessee's strength. So you couple that, and I do want to see how Tennessee does with these tight ends, man. But I just feel like if you got some good guys back there, man, and you obviously know who the guys are, is Brock Bowers and then the other guy, number 0. That's their two main weapons on Georgia. So
Drizzy Dez got Georgia winning by 20.
yeah,
Oh
Hey,
my God.
wow.
I can't see the game getting far apart at all for Georgia if they win.
no, it's not. I mean, the thing
Yeah,
is,
like
is like Tennessee can score, bro, and they can score in a
that's what
hurry.
I'm
It does
saying.
not like
No.
when they went up against Bama like, oh, we got this, and
Yeah.
literally he put them in field goal range. Like
Yeah,
that's
when they walked
crazy,
in
bro.
for that little free fumble recovery and score, it's like you thought Alabama was gonna take momentum. Tennessee come right back scoring, come right back humming.
Oh, yeah. Smoke said part 2 Vols
Balls
by
by
50.
50. Uh-oh.
Hey, on God, let's go, Smoke.
Yep. Smoke said go with your gut. Hey, EG, go with your gut. Hey,
He
that's what you
said
got
you
to
done
do.
lost his bread, man. Dang.
And then, Andrew Simmons said the pass defense is not the rushing
Yeah.
defense. Yeah, kind of like what Mike was saying. Yep, you're
Yep.
exactly right on that. EG using his head, going with Georgia. We'll see. We'll see. We'll definitely see. We'll definitely see. And the next matchup, speaking of, Tennessee snapped their 16 losing streak to Alabama, so they can do the same thing with Georgia. Bama will travel to LSU to kick off and in Baton Rouge to kick off
Sorry.
Bless you.
Brian Kelly's first game against Nick Saban as LSU's head coach. So we will see how much LSU has improved throughout the season. I feel like every game is a constant improvement. And with the tough defense, this could be a good matchup. LSU beat Auburn while only scoring 21 points. So that's one of my main concerns coming into this game, which is why I'm going to have to go ahead and pick Alabama and Bryce Young on that because there ain't no way Bryce Young is just going to score 21 points. We did see it with the defense against Texas as well as Texas A&M, but I think with Bryce Young and coming, they got that one loss. There's no way they're going to lose to LSU. Mike, what's your thoughts on this?
My thoughts is Bama wins this game handily. Everybody's talking about, oh, this is a night game. You're going into Death Valley and all of that stuff. But here's the common denominator: Brian Kelly, not known for winning top games, not known for winning big games at all, man. I mean, I honestly believe that that's the common denominator. But here's another thing, right? Bama, they already have a loss. They feel like the underdog. You know, like they might be favored in this game or ranked, but they feel like the underdog because all LSU has been talking about and all that they hear is LSU controls their destiny. They beat Bama, then they control the West. And they win out, they get to go to the to the SEC championship game. Like, trust me, Bama has heard it all. Nick Saban has definitely put the propaganda out there. Bama's going to come out. Bryce Young will handle them handily. I think that they will also show that, you know, LSU and these wins that they were getting and have gotten are, you know, just against crappy teams and that they're really not ready to be up there with the with the elite shit. They're definitely not. And I don't think Jaden Daniels is gonna have that type of game. Maybe he might prove me wrong, but you're gonna have to prove to me that y'all are ballers. But it's not coming this week.
Well, I disagree with you, man. I think this game will be close. I think LSU is looking a lot more comfortable at this time in the season, and they're at home in Death Valley. I like Jaden Daniels, man. The guy looked very good for 2 straight weeks, and I think Alabama wins this game. But I think they will have to play to win it. I think it'll be a fourth quarter deciding factor in this game. Like I said, LSU is. Whenever you look at LSU, they have the players to line up with you man to man, even if everything is going bad. They have the athletes to line up with you man to man. That's just LSU in general. They have the offense now is coming together. And Alabama, I think Alabama is still searching for themselves. They had a few games without Bryce. The team isn't as dominant as usual. They have to play every single week for the first time in a long time. They're not just beating ass of whoever they're playing. They have to play every single week, and I think this is another week Alabama have to play to the fourth quarter to win this game. I think LSU will put on a show in Death Valley, man, but I got Alabama winning.
Okay, they call Jaden Daniels a one read QB, but he quick on his feet, so
But yeah, I agree with you, Diz. He does sometimes look like a one read guy, but the guy can run pretty well. He's got that deceptive speed. You can't tell he's moving fast, but he's striding past guys.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's just one of those things with LSU. Is like, okay, who you beat?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you look impressive, but against who?
yeah,
Like,
Let me see.
exactly.
BK Washington.
He wants Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly wants that revenge on Saban. So LSU at home at night, yeah, but Bama will find the way to win. So
yeah,
smoke them.
I think Bama by 2 scores.
Uh,
It's not going to be a 1 point game
I'll give Bama by 7 or so. I think
with a
LSU
backdoor
wins.
cover.
I think LSU beating Ole Miss was legit. LSU beating Florida was a decent win. It's just LSU also beat Mississippi State, and I think those are three good wins.
Yep, definitely. I definitely do. And coming up with the last game, we got Wake Forest taking on NC State. This will be one of the toughest tests for NC State Wolfpack after losing their QB. So for the remainder of the season, they're going to have to keep the Wake offensive grounded for the defense, and keeping up with the Deacs scoring output for the offense will be a massive task. So the Wolfpack did defeat Virginia Tech 22-21 on Thursday night. So it's a possibility they're coming into this game with momentum. And Wake Forest is coming in after a loss to Louisville, 48-21. So Hartman was statistically responsible for 6 turnovers in this loss, 3 fumbles, and 3 interceptions. So I definitely missed that game, but I'm definitely gonna have to rewatch it. On this game, NC State was one of my playoff teams, and their season has been rocky. I'm still gonna have to go with that. I had Wake Forest as my defense this week, and they got me -3 points on fantasy football, so forget them. So I'm definitely gonna have to go with NC State this week. EG, who you got on this game?
I'm going for Wake Forest, man. Like I said, you said a key factor in this game, man. Their quarterback is out. NC State quarterback is out this upcoming week, and I'm looking for Sam Hartman, man, just to show why he's on that professional radar as a NFL potential quarterback. I'm gonna go with Wake Forest, and because I mean, if you look at Wake Forest schedule, I thought NC State was good, but I think if you look at Wake Forest schedule, they have more wins over solid teams than NC State. I think they're battle tested for this game, so I'm just gonna go with Sam Hartman and Wake Forest to win this game.
Mike, you looking at some
Yeah,
stats?
yeah. I was looking at this, man. I mean, if NC State lost a quarterback, I don't know if I want. I mean, and then also like they went up against Virginia Tech, had a close one with them. Virginia Tech is not a good football team. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to bet that Wake Forest bounces back. Like I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to bet that Sam Hartman uh, doesn't throw 3 picks, which I just felt was kind of uncharacteristic of him. And I mean, honestly, like what 2 of them was pick sixes, which I felt
Yeesh.
also hurt them. And then I mean, shout out to the Louisville defense because them guys was just selfish. Dude picked it, his teammates running down. He about to get tackled, and he pitched it to the other guy to get more yards and get them in the red zone. So I mean, like what them Louisville dudes was doing to Wake Forest was crazy, but I don't think that I think that Wake Forest will definitely be bouncing back after that, man. There's no way that you have that type of performance and then you come out and have another one like that again. Like NC State, they also started off slow, and if you start off slow to a Wake Forest team that's up, I don't think you're coming back from that.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree on that. But I'm just not a fan of Wake Forest this week, so it is what it is. It is what it is. All right. So getting into one of my favorite segments of the show goes into the game ball segment. I'm gonna go ahead and go first because you already heard Mike mention his name, but I got Deuce Vaughn this week. That guy was a beast. Kansas State, and then especially going in, I think they play Texas next week too. So I hope he still has that same momentum going into Texas and really prove that Kansas State is something to be forced to be reckoned with. Especially the only loss they have against is TCU. He had 22 carries for 158 yards, and the longest yard he had was 62 yards. So I'm definitely going to have to go ahead and give him the game ball this week. EG, who you got?
I'm gonna go out the box. I'm gonna go with this guy from Arizona State. This guy
Mhm.
name is Trenton Bourguet. He's the quarterback. He was a walk-on for them. This is his first career start, and he goes for 435 yards and 3 touchdowns with a W versus Colorado. So you talking about a walk-on coming in there and his very first career start. Just performing and showing up well, man. Great job by that guy. I love a walk on story because I was myself was a walk on. So shout out to him.
Mike, who you got?
Well, I have Ohio State's defensive end JT Tuimoloau. And, as you saw, my guy Drizzy Dez had brought this guy. Oh, no, actually, Andrew, shout out to Andrew, brought up 44 as a dog. And the reason why I did not bring him up in the Ohio State recap is because I felt he needed his own section after he did this. And this is why. Because my man Acho came out and said that he watched 2009 Kadamina Sue, right? He watched him. That was one of the the best defensive game that he has ever seen by an individual player. Well, he said that my man JTT topped this. Let me tell you why he said it topped this. My man came out, finished with six tackles, two of them sacks, two interceptions. One of them went for a pick six that he turned into a touchdown. So you got to put the touchdown on my man's thing. He had one pass deflection that led to his other defensive end catching an INT. He had a forced fumble, and then guess what? A fumble
Fumble
recovery.
recovery.
This dude was just all over the place. And let me tell you how he got his pick. Because some people will actually, one of them, he dropped out in coverage, right? His second one, the pick six, he's just pushing the guy on through, like back into the quarterback, realize the quarterback about to throw the ball, jumps up, takes it to the house, man. And this guy was actually, projected where he could have been a tight end or a defensive end, whichever one that he wanted to play. And gosh, Lee, this is exactly what we were talking about. When Ohio State was going against these teams, they getting the ball out in 2 seconds, getting the ball out in 2 seconds and stuff. When we actually go up against a drop back quarterback, these are the type of results that I believe that you'll be able to see. Iowa had a drop back. Obviously, their offense is not good. But when they did have a drop back quarterback, you saw Ohio State be able to, make turnovers, be able to make plays, man. So JT Tuimoloau even got two shout outs by LeBron.
Hey,
And
you
he,
know, the last player I saw with a stat like that, he wasn't even a edge rusher. The last person I saw with a stat like that was like Honey Badger for LSU. It's crazy that they got did that as a edge rusher, man. That's crazy. And Honey Badger ran for the Heisman when he did it. So
Yep.
yeah, man. I
Yep.
mean, honestly, I just feel like maybe he would have that opportunity if he went up against more drop back quarterbacks instead of the, RPO and quarterbacks and stuff.
but great show today, man. I want you two to end it for me. I have to run.
Gotcha.
We
Right
appreciate you,
before you
bro.
leave, Drizzy Des says EG Arizona State. Really? I'm
Hey,
gonna leave you with
hey,
that.
I love a walk-on story, man. Shout
Hey,
out to that
yes,
guy. He got a
yes.
W too. That's the important part.
Oh, yes. All right.
But all right, y'all take it easy. Hold the show down.
Okay.
For sure, for sure.
Hey, appreciate you jumping in. Let's toast media.
My guy Toast, man, what's going on? My guy Toast be in the spaces with me, man. This is my guy, man. He stood in the paint with a whole bunch of Ohio State fans, man, in the spaces, bro. Shout out to my guy, man. I appreciate you. Appreciate the support. Hey, man, make sure y'all hitting that like and the subscribe button. We want y'all to join in, man. We loving the comments. We loving everything that we get. And actually, you know what? Me and Toast, we talked about it. Me and him gonna do The Game. We're gonna do a collab on The Game as well, man. So appreciate that support. Yeah. We're definitely gonna talk about it. There's gonna be a lot of debate and a lot of smack talk, you know. So hey, and man, I appreciate you, my brother. I appreciate you, man. So I'm looking forward to it. I've never actually got to do one of these. I've been looking forward to like having the Team Up North fan on and doing this. So I'm really looking forward to that, man, because I do believe it's one of the best rivalries in all of sports. And I mean, it's the most viewed rivalry just about every single year. So I'm looking forward to it. I know a lot of people are going to be tuned in November 26th to figure that game out, man. I know that my man Toast is right now figuring out them legal obligations, you know, because a couple of their players effed around and found out.
Drizzy, hey. Make sure you tune into that show, Drizzy Days.
Hey, he right, man. That Team Up North sucks anyway. Yeah.
Hey, but I think that's pretty much it. That's all we got for today. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure if you're not following us, you make sure you click that like and that follow button on all of our social media platforms, as well as your favorite podcast platforms. We will have it up tomorrow morning, and we'll have snippets of tonight's show as well for you on all social media platforms. And with that, anything else, Mike?
I ain't got nothing else, man. I'm just tired of people talking about my Buckeyes, man. Y'all gonna put some respect on our name soon. It's cool.
Hey, but you know what's the best thing about going 9-0?
8-0, yeah.
8-0, 8-0.
The chance to go 9-0.
And the chance to go 9-0, bro. Hey, let's go. All right. And with that, we'll see y'all next week. We are out.